All right, all right. Welcome to the Sabby Sab Show on RBN. I'm your host, Sabrina Salvati. I hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving yesterday, time with the family. I definitely did. I just want to make sure I put this banner up here. Do 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 do. All right. Okay. So oftentimes I'm asked, like, how can you guys support us? You can subscribe to our Patreon. That's scrolling across the bottom of the screen there on the ticker. That's one of the best ways that you can support RBN. I do know we are trying to raise money now so that we can get equipment so we can go on the field. So CJ has put that information out. So follow us on Twitter. He has like the post and everything about that as well. Okay. Interesting stories tonight. I want to go ahead and put the thumbnail up here and tell you what we're going to be discussing. So we have two stories tonight. The first one is just ridiculous, but we got to talk about it. Kanye West and Donald Trump 2024. So yes, believe it or not, this is something that Kanye West is trying to make happen. I'm going to get into that story. There's a lot of controversy about it, about the people that he is aligning himself with. And we're also going to discuss teenage Palestinian tragedy. If you have not heard about this story, I'm going to break this down tonight. Another unfortunate story between this conflict with Israel and Palestine. So we have to cover these issues. People need to understand what is going on out there, especially in reference to this conflict. I want to go ahead and give shout outs really quick to people in the chat. What is up? AK Woman One, Idiocracy. Yep, sounds about right. This is where the country is headed. Negro 489, Trump West 2024. What's going on? Saul says hashtag free Palestine 100%. Sicily, never ye or Trump. Let's do better. I'm here for this. I'm here for it. I agree. What's going on, Angela? I say we avoid the Christmas rush and just put the South Park guys on the ballot. Trey Parker, Matt Stone 2024, make Cartman great again. Just throwing that out there. Greetings all. Shout out to Dr. Richard Thunder. Trump loves doing curls, hair curls. What's going on? Marco says, happy Friday, Sabby. Greetings, Valtteri. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's a face. What's up? Shout out to Ari, says, hey, everybody. Greetings, Randy, says, hi, love. What's going on here goes. Who else is running? This is not a fantasy draft. Ay, ay, ay. This country is a trip. Shout out to Bling Girl, sends love. Greetings, Ellen. Hey, Wary. Wary, you're getting shout outs here in the chat. What's going on? Roman says, revolutionaries assemble. All right, let's go ahead and get into these stories. I want to start off with the Kanye and Trump story here. If you have not heard, yes, it's true. Kanye West has announced that he is running for president for 2024. I kid you not. And to make matters even more crazy and bizarre, he wants Donald Trump to be his running mate. I kid you not. So apparently he actually just met with Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago. He has aligned himself with Milo, white supremacists as well, to participate in this campaign. Like, this is just crazy. I think, I don't know what's going on with Kanye West, but let's get into this story here. So he actually did respond to this about him aligning himself with those individuals. So I have two clips I want to play, actually three clips, but let's get started with the first one. This is Kanye West. I want you to hear what he has to say about aligning himself with people like Milo and why is this? Okay. Like Milo and also Fuentes. So let's go ahead and get into this story.
think the thing that Trump was most perturbed about, me asking him to be my vice president, I think that was like lower on the list of things that caught him off guard. It was the fact that I walked in with intelligence. So Trump is really impressed with Nick Fuentes. And Nick Fuentes, unlike so many of the lawyers and so many people that he was left with on his 2020 campaign, he's actually a loyalist. When he didn't know what the lawyers is, you'll still have your lawyer list. And when all the lawyers said, forget it, Trump's done, there are loyalists running up in the White House, right? And my question would be, why, when you had the chance, did you not free the January 6ers? And I came to him as someone who loves Trump, and I said, go and get Corey back. Go and get these people that the media tried to cancel and told you to step away from. He basically gives me this would-be mob-esque kind of story, talking to some kid from the south side of Chicago trying to sound mobby or whatever. He goes into the story about all that he went through to get Alice Johnson out of jail and how he didn't do it for Kim, but he did it for me. But then he goes on to say that Kim is a you could tell her I said that. And I was thinking, like, that's the mother of my children. Since we know, and all the Christians in America that love Trump know that Trump is a conservative, we're going to demand that you hold all policies directly to the Bible. When Trump started basically screaming at me at the table, telling me I was going to lose, I mean, has that ever worked for anyone in history?
You're going to lose. Tell him he's going to lose.
I'm like, well, hold on, Trump. You're talking to Ye.
You know, this country, like, I really don't, my God. No wonder people laugh at us. No wonder people laugh at the United States. So this is for real. This is not a joke. This is not just talk. He has announced that he is running for president for 2024. I don't know if Donald Trump is going to join him with this. I haven't heard any type of response from Donald Trump just yet, but I don't get this, man. I really don't get this. If you think about everything that's been happening with Kanye West over the past year, so he obviously has been in trouble for anti-Semitic remarks, also remarks that he made about George Floyd death. So people are upset with him about that as well. This is not a good look. It's really not a good look. And I said this before, and I still stand by it. If anything, Kanye West right now should be taking a step back from the media. He should not be seeking more publicity. Obviously, when you run for president, you're going to get a lot of publicity. So I don't understand this here. I don't know why he's trying to do this. It seems like to me, he just wants more attention. Now, Forbes actually spoke out about this as well. I do want to go ahead and play that clip to show you what they had to say. So let's go ahead and get into that. I feel like this is mainly just another attempt to stroke Kanye's ego. Like, this man really needs attention. So here we go. Let's hear what they had to say about this on Forbes.
So speaking to that, he was flanked by a far-right commentator, Milo Yiannopoulos, during this announcement. What do you think that means?
Ye needs help. Milo's really been banned from every sort of platform. He was one of those people who was really visible at the beginning of the Trump years, and then he got deplatformed and largely disappeared. So
I mean, for me, why are you aligning yourself, whether he wants to run as a conservative or not, why is he aligning himself with white supremacists? Like, who does that? Do you see what I'm saying? What African-American person, who would do this? This is why I say there is something not right. There is something not right with Kanye. And this is not to say that everything that he says is incorrect. That's not true either. But what statement are you trying to make by aligning yourself with people like Milo? What's the statement there? Let's go on.
I would expect a few small outrageous stunts, but I would imagine Ye's going to get bored with it. And I mean, I just don't see it going anywhere.
Do you think this would delegitimize his campaign even further, or does he have some sort of appeal to the far right?
He might, but the far right already has an announced candidate in Donald Trump, and I can't imagine he's going to siphon votes away from Trump. And if Republican operatives thought that was going to be the case at all, they certainly wouldn't work to get him on the ballot like they did previously.
And he did claim that he was going to be using some of the clothing from Adidas, Balenciaga, and Gap to promote his 2024 campaign.
See, this is another thing that doesn't make any sense to me. Why is he trying to use, why would you use the company that let you go? Why would you use their label? Why would you use their brand? These things don't make sense to me. Very strange.
But this clothing, he got deals taken away from him after his anti-Semitic comments. So is there a market for Ye gear now?
That I don't know. I mean, I think, let me go back. If you look at the political appeal of like Trump, especially after Charlottesville, there was appeal for that kind. People were interested in that. So yeah, you might find some interest in getting a pair of Yeezys, but I'm a season ticket holder to the Washington Spirit and the National Women's Soccer League. And I've seen several people around there wearing Yeezys in the past. And I'm going to bet next season, I'm not going to see people at the games walking around in Yeezys there. So very limited.
Good to know. So now moving on to Taylor Swift. There was a debacle last week.
And there's one part here I wanted to play from the very beginning too.
So it really feels like 2009 with some of these stories we're about to break down between Kanye West and Taylor Swift. So let's get right to it. Let's start with Kanye, now legally known as Ye. He has announced he's going to run for president. So before we break that down, can you just explain the controversy that's surrounding him?
Sure. In a word, anti-Semitism. He's been posting all sorts of anti-Semitic tweets and making other comments. And, this is one of the differences between 2009 and 2020 when he ran for president before is it is a different Kanye than what people are used to.
So what is this?
Okay, so what's really interesting to me is that I noticed he mentioned Kanye anti-Semitism, but you notice he don't mention anything about the comments that Kanye West made about slavery, that slavery was a choice. You notice he doesn't mention anything about the comments that Kanye made about George Floyd's death. Why don't they mention that? It's just something I know. They don't bring that up though. And I think the reason why they don't bring it up is because they know that for a lot of people ain't really, it's Black people. He's criticizing Black people, which some people in this country don't care about. So it's just like, yeah, I'm not going to mention the comments that he made about African Americans, but he'll mention the anti-Semitism comments because he knows that's a hot button. Let that sink in. Think about that for a second. How many people were this livid when Kanye West said that slavery was a choice? How many people were this livid? Were as many people livid about that as they are about his anti-Semitic remarks? That's something people need to really pay attention to, I think. Really pay attention to. Now, I have another clip here I also want to show, and this is from Bill Maher. So Bill Maher was interviewed, and I want you to hear what he has to say about the possibility of someone like Trump again, right? So I'm going to talk about this later tonight on my show. People really need to wake up, because if you think that Donald Trump does not have a chance to win in 2024, you are wrong. You are wrong. He very much still has a significant base that really likes him. Granted, some people have walked away from that, but he still has a strong base of supporters that will still stand by him. But listen to what Bill Maher says here in reference to the political climate in this country right now and where Democrats may be falling short. Check this out.
Let's talk about all this cancel culture and stuff that you've been writing a lot about. What I want to ask you is it a particularly troubling issue for you as a comedian? Because, I mean, at some level, isn't every joke in some way offensive? I mean, you're trying to, right?
I mean, no, absolutely not for every comedian. Most comedians don't go near anything that's offensive. It's just not the way they work. It's not the kind of material that interests them. They're talking about other things. Me, yes, this is obviously has always been an issue with me. And but it's not just people in show business, not just famous people anymore who worry about cancel culture. There are a lot of people, I don't know, going through their high school yearbook, like, oh my God, did I wear a sombrero and at the prom or something? And I mean, lots of regular people have been canceled for things, some guy says, I don't know, just something he thinks is innocuous. Right. It's not, he doesn't know. He's saying, well, white lives matter too. And he doesn't quite understand, he's not of that generation, why we want a particular focus, because black lives have always been more at peril. There's a reason why that was a saying and became an organization. And he gets canceled, and nobody just sat him down and said, hey, right. this. And he might have went, oh, okay, I get it.
Let's talk about this piece here for just a second. The cancel culture. This is one of the areas where I think the Democrats are going to continue to struggle with. A lot of people are tired of it, and it's not just conservatives who are tired of it. You have Democrats that are tired of it. You have independents that are tired of it. And this reason right here alone could be the reason why some people may decide to vote for Trump in 2024. And I've heard this on all sides, where people are saying, listen, I'm tired of being told what I can and can't say. I'm tired of being told what's politically correct or what's PC. And the PC culture started years ago, but still it's heightened now, right? So people are tired of seeing people get canceled, get censored. We talked about this the other day, that Garland Nixon, same thing. He was taken off of Twitter. Like, people are tired of the cancel culture. And for that reason alone may be enough for some people to vote for Donald Trump instead of Joe Biden. And I'm very serious about this, because I've heard a lot of people complain about it. And I got to tell you, for people who think if Joe Biden runs in 2024, for people who think that Trump doesn't stand a chance, you are wrong. You are wrong. If you go to some of these areas where a lot of people like Donald Trump, you will see, look, couple doors down from me, my neighbor has a Trump flag in his garage. And I live in Massachusetts. So it just, I think people really need to pay attention to what's going on and stop thinking that just because Joe Biden won in 2020, that automatically Trump is not going to stand a chance again. That's actually not true. Let's go on.
No, you're just gone. That's what people are, just very tired of walking on eggshells in this country. That is something the Democrats are also fighting in this election. People don't like it. And, this is also part of why Elon Musk taking over Twitter is just such an enormous controversy with so many people. And 99% of Twitter employees voted Democratic. Even if you're a Democrat, you shouldn't think that's a good thing. To have a major, what really is a news organization, because people get their news from it, but from someplace where the entire organization thinks one way, that's the very definition of groupthink.
Part of the problem is we're sorting ourselves into these two tribes, and it feels like college education and urban rural are the two big dividers, where maybe religion would be the third. So you get these urban, college educated, secular people on one side, and you get rural, more religious, less college education. And there's just so much tribal suspicion, hostility, it feels as if it's not really about issues anymore.
No, I keep trying to tell people who, don't even want to breathe the same air as a Trump voter, like, you can hate Trump. You can't hate all the people who voted for him. It's half.
That's a good point right there. Thank you for the super chat, Roger Meadows. Biggest head fake is GOP fooling. You can legislate PC. Thank you so much for that super chat, Roger. This is a good point that's brought up here. Now, look, I don't agree with Bill Maher on a lot of things. I think he's typical liberal. I don't think he's that radical or anything like that. But this point that he makes here, this point about, look, you can hate Donald Trump, but you can't hate all the people that voted for him. He'll go on to say that, look, like half the country like voted for the guy. And I think this is where I think Democrats have messed up. It's like the Democratic Party has embraced this academic coastal elite group. And it wasn't always that way, but it is that way now. And I believe it started with Barack Obama. Those are the people they embrace now. They say they're the party of the working class, but they're not really the party of the working class. So they have gone after these Goldman Sachs, Ivy League educated class. They're gone after those groups of people. And so you have people, there are a lot of people that voted for Donald Trump to basically protest against that. You have people that still live in the Rust Belt that the Democratic Party had forgotten. You have people who live in a lot of these rural areas that the Democratic Party doesn't even campaign in. They avoid it. And they go to the cities that they know they're most likely to win in. And the only exception to that I've found is the early voting states, right? So South Carolina is one of those states. So of course they're going to go heavily and focus in South Carolina. But what you guys got to understand, when I lived in South Carolina, do you know that outside of the cities, once you get out of Charleston and Columbia, did you know that a lot of the people that live in these rural towns in South Carolina, did you know they didn't even know who Bernie Sanders was? We're talking about the 2020 run. A lot of them didn't even know who that was. And you know why? Because the Democratic Party, they're not going to those areas. They're going into the cities. And Bernie Sanders, I have to say this. Yes, it was good to energize the youth. But I think where he messed up, like I said, you cannot ignore those small rural areas. You have to talk to those people too. And the whole Democratic Party has gone that way. They have gone the way of just focusing on the educated Ivy elite class. And that's where their base is now. And that's what they focus on. And while they were sleeping, the rural towns showed up and supported Donald Trump. Huge mistake. Huge.
Half the country. And on top of that, I really believe, I've always believed, being conservative is a personality trait before it's a political position. It's just something that's very innate. You know, think of some uncle you had. He was a great guy, you loved him, but he was just a conservative. It was just in his blood. Like some people are neat and some people are messy and some people are adventurous and some people are cautious. It's just a personality, and then the politics comes in later. Now, some of it has to do with religion and where you live and the way you were brought up and stuff like that. But I mean, there are just people who are going to be conservative, and you're going to have to live with them. You can't own them or destroy them. They're not going to self-deport, and they're about to take over the government. So and they're not going to give.
Okay, I want to talk about this point too. Yeah, I think it's easier to do so when you live in like these deep blue states, right? So in Massachusetts, it's a little bit easier for me to avoid Trump supporters if I want to, right? Especially if in Eastern Massachusetts, the Boston area. But when I lived in South Carolina, that was not the case. Most of the people that I worked with, and these were my coworkers, most of them were conservative. My doctor was conservative. My preacher at the time was conservative. And so for people who live in those, you know, it's really easy for people that live in these blue states that are in like California and Massachusetts. It's easy for those people to say, listen, don't talk to Trump supporters. Don't talk to Republicans. They're crazy right wing. It's easy for them to say that. because they can avoid those people. They're in a blue majority. But for people like Nick that lives in Missouri, for people who are living in places like South Carolina, for people who are living in places like Tennessee, guess what? They can't avoid conservatives. That's their coworker. That could be their boss. That could be their teacher. That could be a family member. So just to say ignore them and don't have conversations with them, for people that live in those areas, that is not possible. That is not possible. Now, you don't have to agree with them, but you can't just pretend like they don't exist. That's a big part of it. I'm going to finish up here, and then I have an article I want to go to as well about Kanye's announcement.
Give it back.
So what is going to happen if let's assume both houses go Republican, where there's a
Well,
fair
this
chance?
is what I was saying at the end of my show Friday. I felt the audience was stunned, as they should be. But they shouldn't be, because it's been going on for a long time, and I've been saying it for a long time. Yes, I mean, unless there's a oddity with the polling, it's going to be a very good day for the Republicans. As we both have mentioned, the majority of Republicans running for Congress, for Senate, for House, and for state houses, the people who are going to decide who is the president in 2024 are election deniers. They don't believe in this crazy idea that the guy with the most votes wins. So what happens in 2024 is Trump is going to try the coup he tried in 2020, which was plainly an attempted coup. There's no other way to look at it. But this time he's going to have in place this army of deniers who will support him. And he is going to show up. I promise you, I will bet every bit of money I have, he will show up on Inauguration Day on 2025, whether he's the winner or not. And then we'll see what happens. And then we'll see how much we look like other countries that we thought, oh, that could never happen to us. Yeah, it could. Yeah, it could.
And he may have thousands of people with arms.
As he did January 6th. You think they're going to stay home now that this has happened again and they have all these people in place that are on their side?
He's right about that. Those individuals that were there, if you think they're not going to show up 2024 to vote, they're going to heavily show up. This is not over. This is not over. And the last thing that Democrats should do is get comfortable.
Oh, no, my friend. It's going to be very interesting.
On that cheery note, Bill Maher.
Yeah, I wish I had better news to report, but you asked me.
Thank you for doing this.
All right. My pleasure.
Okay. People need to get ready. People need to be prepared. That's right, Casey. Hell no, it ain't over. No, it's not. And I think people are getting a little too comfortable, because I've heard it. I've heard people saying some things. Oh, we did better than we thought we would do in the midterm, so we're going to just do great 2024. Okay. Midterms and presidential election are two different things. Got to tell you that one. Got to tell you. Now, let's go ahead to this article here, which also discusses Kanye West run. Put this over here. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger for you guys because the text is incredibly tight. Tiny. Okay, here we go. Kanye West announces 2024 presidential bid amid far-right ties. Here we go. The disgraced rapper and designer, formerly known as Kanye West, said he has plans to run for president in 2024 amid a series of anti-Semitic tirades and a new far-right associations. The declaration of his candidacy, which referenced several political figures and aides associated with the U.S. white supremacist and anti-democracy movements, would make him the second person to enter the race after Donald Trump. I'm still going to make this bigger because this is still small. Boom. Okay, now we can really see it. Let me go on here. A day earlier, the sportswear giant Adidas announced he was launching an investigation into the allegations he harassed former employees. Rolling Stone magazine reported claims by Adidas employees working on the rapper's Yeezy shoe line that he used porn, bullying, and mind games to create a toxic environment at the company. This is crazy shit. That revelation itself followed several fashion brands, including Adidas, Gap, Balenciaga, dropping the 45-year-old star over anti-Semitic comments he made online, including that he would go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. That comment, after he wore a controversial White Lives Matter t-shirt during Paris Fashion Week, triggered mass condemnation of the rapper. He was dropped by banker JP Morgan, his talent agency CAA, lawyers, and record company. Yee later said he lost $2 billion in one day. Twitter and Instagram temporarily locked his accounts. Yee went on Fox News Tucker Carlson tonight and made further inflammatory comments, this time about his ex-wife Kim Kardashian and the pop star Lizzo. He told former CNN anchor Chris Cuomo that his anti-Semitic comment was not hate speech. This is the truth. Yee's faltering effort to distance himself from the remarks were further undermined when anti-Semitic demonstrators referenced Yee in signs and raised over the 405 freeway in LA and in Jacksonville, Florida. Kanye, they went on to say this. I got to be careful about saying that. So he is getting support from far right wing. He is getting support from racist, from white supremacists. Kanye West is. Make it make sense. Let's go on here. We go down to this part here. Yee's announcement of a second run for the White House was made with a video of his campaign logo to social media captioned Yee 24. In it, he claimed to have asked Donald Trump to be his running mate, a suggestion that had most perturbed the former president. The thing that Trump was most perturbed about is me asking him to be my vice president. And that's coming from Kanye West. I think that was like lower on the list of things that caught him off guard. It was the fact that I walked in with intelligence. In the Yee 24 Twitter post, the rapper said that's a typo. Okay, the rapper said he'd advise Trump to go and get these people that the media tried to cancel, with flashes of Trump campaign manager Corey Lewandowski, Roger Stone, and InfoWars conspiracist Alex Jones. Several days ago, Yee was seen in the company of white nationalist Nick Fuentes at Trump Mar-a-Lago's country club and home. In the video titled Mar-a-Lago Debrief, Yee said Trump started basically screaming at me at the table, telling me I'm going to lose. Has that ever worked for anyone in history? I'm like, wait, hold on, Trump. You're talking to Yee. You see what I'm saying? Even at this point, Donald Trump is trying to talk some sense into him and let him know, look, you're going to lose. And it doesn't resonate. Like, it's like he doesn't get it. This is just odd behavior. Fuentes is known for virulently anti-Semitic opinions of his own, as well as extreme racism. So why is Kanye West, a black man, why is he trying to unite with someone who is racist? Someone who doesn't even like people like him. Make it make sense, guys. Make it make sense. He's also known for misogyny and fascism. He started a white nationalist organization called America First Foundation. The Department of Justice has called him a white supremacist, and he has been banned from multiple social media platforms. In the video, Yee sang Fuentes' praises and called him a loyalist. Yee also recently told the far-right British commentator Milo that he was working on the campaign, which Milo said he took to be a campaign announcement. On Thursday, Ye indicated that he had enlisted Milo as his 2024 campaign manager. Only Kanye would do this. Only Kanye. What message is Kanye West trying to send to people? What message? Wow. Milo has a long history of anti-Semitism too, including donating $14.88 to a Jewish journalist, a figure that references the so-called 14 words, White Supremacist Manifesto and 88, used by neo-Nazis as the shorthand for Hail Hitler because H is the 8th letter in the alphabet. This is the craziest thing I've seen. I'm on incognito, so you don't recognize me. Says Trump donated to both parties for a long time. He was pro-abortion before he was anti and was close to the Clintons. That's right, he was. Incognito also said Milo was also gay. They rely on the idea that most people don't have consistent opinions. Oh my God. Thank you for the super chat, Roger. Started with Bill betraying workers, culminating with I don't know what that means. SG, my husband voted for Trump, not for him, but Republican Party, as most small business owners do for the same reason. Or small owners do for some reason. Interesting. And thank you for the super chat as well, Roger. Conservatives, a group we can win over with ballot initiatives. And thank you for the super chat as well. Y'all keep forgetting Ye pushed Confederate tees before White Lives Matter tees. Exactly. Like who is he trying to appeal to? What the hell is wrong with Kanye? You're going to align yourself with the same group of people that don't even consider you to be human and intelligent. I told you guys, make it make sense. Make it make sense. All right, we're going to go into our next story. Like, I couldn't believe this when I saw it. I was like, this is ridiculous. I do not know if you have heard about this story about this 16-year-old boy. I'm going to go ahead and share here. We all know about the ongoing crisis between Israel and Palestine. Multiple people are affected. And what's really sad is that we have kids being affected by this. But most people aren't talking about it. And some people don't care because it was a Palestinian boy who was killed. Let's go into this article. Israel shot dead 16-year-old Palestinian. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. I'm going to make this larger. I don't know why they didn't use black ink with this, man. Get with the black ink, man, so people can see it better. This looks a little gray. A 16-year-old Palestinian child was shot and killed by an Israeli soldier last night in the occupied West Bank city of Nablus. Now, that was reported by Wafa News Agency. According to the Palestinian Ministry of Health, Ahmed Shahada was killed following an Israeli military raid that resulted in him being shot in the heart. This little boy was shot in the chest. Moreover, 4 other Palestinians were severely injured, including a victim suffering from a bullet in the abdomen and another with a sound bomb which exploded on his head. Along with Israeli settlers, large units of Israeli forces stormed into the village in a military bulldozer and used live fire, rubber-coated bullets, and tear gas canisters to attack the Palestinian residents. So this is something we've been talking about here on RBN. I know Nick has covered this multiple times. Imagine being in your home, minding your own business, and a herd of people come in, break into your home, start tear gassing you, beating you, shooting you. This is happening. This is what is happening to Palestinian people in Israel. And I'm really tired of people turning a blind eye to it. I'm tired of people coming up with excuses as for why this is happening. No one should be treated that way. No one. Palestinian people, they're not even allowed to be comfortable in their own home. They're kicking them out of their homes. And nobody cares or seems to care really that they're killing children. Children. And the United States government is supporting it. The only one I've seen speak out against it is Rashida Tlaib, and that's because she's Palestinian. Most of the politicians in DC are completely silent about this. Or they'll say, we have to support and back Israel. I know, me too, Brandy. Me too. It makes me so angry. It makes me angry too. It makes me angry too. Let's go back into the article. The Israeli occupation forces also attacked Palestinian vehicles belonging to paramedics from the Palestine Red Crescent Society, local residents told WAFA, while providing protection to the settlers. There has been a rise in Israeli raids on the occupied West Bank over the past few months, coupled with violence carried out by settlers who have even turned against Israeli forces at times. This year alone, 130 Palestinians have been killed. By the way, those are just the ones that were able to be counted. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Those are the ones they found. Over 130 Palestinians have been killed, as well as at least 25 on the Israeli side, reportedly making 2022 the deadliest year for Palestinians in the West Bank. The deadliest year for Palestinians in the West Bank. Somebody tell me how anyone can justify this. And this is not against the Israeli people. This is against the state of Israel. We're talking about the government, the state of it. And this idea of Zionism. They are basically an apartheid state. That's what's happening here. They are basically an apartheid state now. And I'm constantly hearing some of these other politicians making excuses for what is happening to the Palestinian people. Do you guys see why it is a problem for me if you're a candidate and you say you're against BDS? By the way, BDS is boycotts, divestments, and sanctions, is a Palestinian-led movement. Do you see why this is a problem for me? For these candidates? I see you, Maxwell Frost. You were all for the Palestinian fight until you realize, wait a minute, this could affect my chances of winning. AIPAC could come in and throw big money at me and I could lose my race. So he flipped just like that. Just like that. And what's even worse is when I see Black candidates do it. Because you know damn well that if anything, you should be standing with the Palestinian people, considering what African Americans have gone through in this country. They are pushing them out of their home. This is not right. And I'm going to show you a video. Because sometimes we say these things and people are like, oh, I don't see any proof about that. Where's the proof? Show me what you're talking about. They're not being racist at all. Really? They're not. Did you know it's not just the Palestinian people? You should see the way that they're treating Ethiopians in Israel. And I'm going to show you that right now. Let me show you. If you think it's bad just for Palestinians, it's not. This is what I'm trying to tell you guys. They want anyone who is not, let me push this back, who is not Israeli, they want them out. They want them out. Let me show you. That's why I said it's an apartheid state. Let me show you what they said to the Ethiopians, what they're doing to the Ethiopians in Israel. Watch this.
אנחנו גזענים כדי לרצות לשמור על החיים שלנו ועל השפיות שלנו. אז אני גאה בלהיות גזענית. אני גאה בלהיות גזענית. אם אני גזענית בשביל לשמור על החיים שלי, אז אני גאה.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Sorry about that. These are the examples I'm trying to show people. This woman openly admitting that she's racist. Openly admitting it. Openly. And so when people ask me and they're like, look, I haven't seen any proof or any evidence of them treating Palestinians this way. I'm like, are you on social media? Are you kidding me? So for people who say it again, this video is showing you what they're doing to the Ethiopian people. Am I still? I thought I wasn't muted. Okay, yeah, I'm not. This video is showing what they're doing to the Ethiopian people. It's not just Palestinians. They don't want anyone who is not Israeli there. And I don't see how anybody can defend this. Where do you watch the rest of this video? Watch this.
My kids, especially my sons, is not safe here in Israel.
תשים מייקאפ לבן, לא יודע, אני לא יודע, אין לי מושג.
מה אתיופית צריך לעשות? לצאת מהארץ שלנו.
כאשר שוטר פוגש חשוד, מטבע הדברים, המוח שלו חושד בו יותר.
So he just said, if you basically encounter, let me go back here for just a second. When a police officer confronts an Ethiopian Israeli, notice he said an Ethiopian Israeli, he goes on to say, suspect. He said, it is natural. It's natural. Let me get to the other part here. In his mind to suspect him. How is this any different from the police state that we have in the United States against African Americans? How is that any different? It's not. It's not any different. You see the problem? But the U.S. government supports this, though. You see, so how are you going to complain about, oh, we need police reform, but you back this?
חושד בו יותר מאשר הוא היה חושד בו אילו היה מישהו אחר. זה טבעי.
אחרי שראש ממשלת ישראל מר בנימין נתניהו הבטיח לנו שוב ושוב שהוא יפתור את בעיית המסתננים. אתה יודע, היום אברי יש נתון של 2,000 לידות בשנה, שזה נתון מטורף לכל מגזר שנמצא בארץ.
This piece here, I want to show you something. This part right here. You see what this says? It says you should all be in camps. You know how dangerous this is? You should all be in camps. What is happening here? Why would you even, considering the history, why would you say that to someone else? This piece here. There's another piece here. See these words? Go home. You see this? You see how dangerous this is? JB says they're becoming the same way, the same people they swore they'd never become. Exactly. You hear the rhetoric? Go home.
אחרי שראש ממשלת ישראל מר בנימין נתניהו הבטיח לנו שוב ושוב שהוא יפתור את בעיית המסתננים. אתה יודע, היום אברי יש נתון של 2,000 לידות בשנה, שזה נתון מטורף לכל מגזר שנמצא בארץ.
I'm going to put, oh, sorry, it was muted. I'm going to put the link in the chat for that. Because for the people, if you have friends, if you have family members that are supporting what the United States, backing the state of Israel and what they're doing to the Palestinian people, if you have that, send them that video I just sent you. Send them that video I just put in the chat. Let them see what's happening. Because I don't like this whole, they're calling them infiltrators. Like, these are Ethiopian Israelis. So when people say, oh, well, the situation between Israel and Palestine, it's very complicated. Make sure you show them that they're doing the same thing to Ethiopians. And tell me it's not an apartheid state. Now, how can the same government that condemned apartheid in South Africa, how can you embrace it happening in Israel? Very sad. It's very unfortunate what happened to that teenager, what happened to Ahmad. Very, very unfortunate. Should not have happened. And now they're embracing further right-wing policies. So you see Netanyahu coming back in. It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. And you know what the danger of this is as well? This could spread. How do we know that other countries aren't going to start doing this too? See how dangerous this is? And if that happens, just remember the United States government backed it. Yasmin says, I saw this on Twitter earlier, along with the video of a young Israeli kids interrupting and verbally harassing a reporter speaking Arabic from a French news outlet. Thank you for the super chat, Ja Crispy. If only Americans knew the influence and power they really have over America, a lot of things will begin. Oh, excuse me. Will begin to make sense for them. They literally get away with murder in front of everyone's eyes. I mean, it's just, I don't know what to say. JB says, I almost talked about this last night, but I chose to wait until my next stream. But this was sad to see. Very sad. Very sad. Thank you for the super chat, Donald. Look into the guy Bibi appointed into his cabinet, a guy who's a member of the Jewish Power political party. Interesting. And I think I want to make sure I got Roger. Thank you for the super chat, Roger. This is more than Israeli government. These are the people. I just don't, I don't see how people can still defend it. I really don't, you guys. Absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. Now I want to show you guys something here. I'm making sure I'm putting my tab up, the right tab up. More people need to know about this because enough people don't know. And I know they don't know because when I tell them about it, they're like, what? Very upsetting. Very upsetting. Okay. I am about to head out, but if you want more Sabby, you can catch me in about an hour. I'll be on my channel. I'm going to show you what we're going to talk about tonight. Should be an interesting discussion because Shahid Buttar will be here. And it's been a minute since I talked to him. So let me show you what I'm going to discuss tonight. Boop-a-boo. Whoop. Why is it doing? Oh, yeah, it is a window. That's right. Okay, so tonight, if you want more Sabby, I'll be live on my channel at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to discuss Richard Wolff alert about the auto industry, where I'm also going to talk about Donald Trump versus Ron DeSantis. I have some numbers for you, so we're going to get into a little bit of data there. Shahid Buttar is going to join. He's got some things to say about Nancy Pelosi and why he believes she decided to not hold her position for minority leader. She would be minority leader if she held on. And then also a huge lawsuit underway for L'Oreal. That is huge. That lawsuit is coming from Black women. So if you use L'Oreal products, don't miss that because this could have an effect on you. So I'm going to cover that tonight as well. I'm going to go ahead and grab these, this super sticker. Thank you so much for the super sticker, Janice. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's crazy out there, you guys. I'm telling you, more people need to pay attention to this. Because something like what's happening in Israel and Palestine, something like that spreads and other countries start doing that, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. How would people feel if we had that same movement in the United States and they were trying to push Black people out, trying to push Latinos out? Terrible. All right, guys, that is it for me. If you want to see me later, join me in an hour. Should be a good discussion tonight. And then I'll do call in after the episode as well. Other than that, have a good night. Keep up the fight.